It was a crime that shocked the Deerwood neighborhood in Jacksonville in 1999. A man attacked at his own driveway, then stabbed to death in his garage. His wife dragged into the home and bound. On Your Side's Katie Jeffries takes a closer look at this murder in this week's Unsolved.
It started like a typical Monday morning. Saad Kawaf said goodbye to his wife and then went out to run an errand. But there were two attackers waiting for him outside. And in the quiet, gated neighborhood, questions swirled about who the attackers could be and how did they go unnoticed. Questions detectives are still trying to answer today. Crime isn't common in the gated Deerwood neighborhood, especially murder. But the morning of May 17, 1999 would turn out to be a deadly one. It was around 9:30 a.m. when Saad Kawaf walked out his door to go to his van parked in the driveway.
A few minutes later, Mrs. Kawaf heard a scream come from the garage.
She opened the door and saw her husband being beaten and stabbed by a man. Then she saw a woman who attacked her and tied her up inside. With the Kawafs being the owners of the Forest Discount Food Store, police believe the attackers were after money.
He would make deposits several times a week at the bank, so feel that that's definitely somebody was watching his activity.
And waited for the moment to strike. Neighbors didn't report seeing or hearing anything out of the ordinary that morning, except for one that was walking her dog.
She also saw a red Jeep Cherokee. As she went past the house and continued on her walk, that red Jeep Cherokee eventually passed her.
Despite pulling records from the guard gate and canvassing the neighborhood, that Jeep was never identified. Employees we spoke to in 1999 were shocked. Flowers were left by customers at the Kawaf store.
I cannot believe it, not yet. He's dead. You know, it was leaving, you know. He's a very nice guy. Everything, you know, for all this community, you know, all this neighborhood.
Miss Kawaf was able to provide detectives with a description. The male attacker was a white man around 5'9" to 6 foot, medium to heavy build, reddish blonde hair with a graying mustache. The female attacker was a white female around 5'2", petite, with thin, shoulder-length blonde hair. This is a composite sketch. Miss Kawaf was also able to provide another piece of evidence. Because she bit the female attacker during their struggle, there was DNA. Cold case detectives say the evidence taken from the scene was processed in 1999, then again in 2014.
We have still have been unable to identify any suspects.
And employees at the Kawaf store didn't recognize the woman in the composite in 1999.
I never meet her here. I don't think so. She was here on store.
But the search for justice isn't over. Detective Radigan hopes someone in the public may come forward, even if it's just a small piece of information.
Maybe something that struck them funny 20 years ago about somebody's demeanor around that time. Maybe somebody came into some money, maybe somebody, they remember an injury, or just maybe something that they didn't think it was big enough to bring to police's attention at that time to bring it to our attention now, saying, hey, you know, I've always felt funny about this, and just give us a direction that we can start looking at.
And hopefully bring closure to a family that's been waiting more than 20 years now for justice. If you know anything about the murder of Saad Kawaf in 1999, call the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Katie Jeffries, First Coast News, On Your Side.